Welcome to the studio at Two Girls Treasure. We're doing a flip around on you today. Welcome to the studio. I needed more room to work on this beautiful cabinet that we have coming up. And so we got out from behind that table, and now you can see the entirety of the studio, all the materials and playthings that we have in here. It's so much fun. You should join us sometime. This Saturday, join us. We have a special workshop coming up. We are part of the PD State Farmers Market in Florence, South Carolina. We're a half mile off I-95, and this weekend is the plant and no, it's the craft show. It's the arts and crafts show. The Plant and Flower Festival is coming soon, and that's what my mind is on. But we have the Arts and Crafts Festival here at the Farmers Market this weekend. Lots of regional and local artisans will be here. Not only will we host a workshop in the afternoon, we'll have demos throughout the day of different products. So please join us for an exciting Saturday afternoon here at the PD State Farmers Market. Now, you saw this piece of furniture, and I did use AI to create different looks with different colors. The white looked great, not the most popular, surprisingly, because white has been such a popular color for so long. The black has my heartstrings, and it's so beautiful. And the blue was absolutely stunning as well. But at the end of it all, I heard you, I studied, and we went with green. But now it's a matter of which green. So we have our fabulous pine shadow green, and we also have our mix of pine shadow and midnight. This is called forest, and I think this is the one that we're going to reach for. I do love this, but actually, when it's dry, it tones a little bit deeper than it does when it's wet. But I don't know. I really feel like this deep, rich green is the one that's going to look best on here. Also, I did use acetone. I did a test of acetone versus prep, and I'll tell you the truth, my prep is going to win just about every time. These surfaces were not in need of being sanded. They just needed to be very deep cleaned. The surface wasn't cracked up or broken up. The finish was in good shape. So I really didn't need to strip it all the way down. And to be honest, when I started working with the acetone, I was in here, those severe storms yesterday. We did have some extraordinarily high winds, but thank the Lord we did not have anything horrific to deal with. So I stayed in here most of the day. I did work with the acetone. The acetone dissipates very quickly, so you can only work on small sections at a time. And I'm impatient, but I can work on small sections. The other thing is, it was very noxious, and it was really messy. I like working with prep because you spray it on, let it sit just for a minute or two, and then you clean it back off, and everything's good. It's not the same. I am positive there are instances where the acetone or a stripper is needed, but this is not that instance. So I put those away. I went with my prep. It took me 4 different cleaning cloths to get the base clean and the upper cabinet. And I've got the upper cabinet laid down right here behind because I did clean it. I will show it to you before we get too far gone with our morning. And you'll be very surprised. I'm surprised. And I'm also probably not going to paint it. Let me show you our gift from O'Reilly Auto Parts here in Darlington, South Carolina, right down the road. We're in Florence. They're in Darlington. They're in Florence too, but we're partial to the one in Darlington. This little jewel right here expands, says O'Reilly on the inside, but it's magnetized. So when I put the screws from the back panel in here, they don't fall out. And we all need that because the hardware we deal with, we don't want to lose. So let me put these screws up. I needed it yesterday afternoon and I didn't have it. But listen, look, they stay. I love this little gift from O'Reilly. Thanks, J. Elmore. That was a great gift. What do you think? What do you think? Which green do you think looks massively amazing? Let's study on that for a minute. I had to take the back panel off. This is just a sheet of fiberboard. It's not even Luan. It's not even underlayment. There was a handle hold right here, a place where you could pass electrical plugs in and out, if you will. And it had a spot on it that was torn, so I removed this from the back. This was actually screwed on, so this is a decent piece of furniture. They went that extra mile to make it look better and make it easier for me to take this off. So I just marked out my sections with my measuring tape and a straight edge and took my jigsaw and cut this out. I left it off because, let me set this to the side. I left it off because when you look at the back, there's our upper. It actually made it a little bit easier for me. So I'll be able to reach inside here because I want to do this section. I don't want to leave it the brown tone that it is. Good morning. Thank you so much for being here. But I don't want it the brown tone that it is inside, so I did leave it off so I had that accessibility. I may even take the lower panel off as we go through so that we can get to the inside of the bottom a little bit easier. Maybe I won't get paint all over my clothes this time. Maybe. We'll see. But if I take that off, I have my handy little O'Reilly hardware holder, and my screws will not get lost. All right. This is clean. The upper portion is clean, and it is ready to go into paint. I believe, in spite of the AI that I used, that I can paint the entirety of the base in our green color, and then I can... Do you want to see the upper? Because it's so beautiful. Let me see if I can stand it up. My arms were mad at me when I went home last night. Look how beautiful this is clean. This is cleaned with prep. It is nice and smooth right now. It does have some worn spots on the finish, and that's just from age. This is a 120-year-old piece, and I love it. I don't know that I want to paint it, although it looked amazing with all of the detail work popping. We'll get to this. I haven't settled on this yet, and I think it would be stunning on top of this in just its natural state with a fresh coat of dark walnut stain. I haven't settled on this yet, but this is a beautiful piece. It did look amazing in the green with the gold accents with all of these baubles. I'm struggling to paint it, struggling not to. The struggle is there's a lot of detail work there. The struggle to do it is that there's a lot of detail work there. I think it'll look amazing. Nobody wants this. It's been for sale in the store, and nobody has claimed it. Nobody has shown enough interest in it. So it pairs well with this lower cabinet, and I think we should probably just paint the lower cabinet and decide as we go. That's my roller dolly. There we go. That's as far as it's going to go right there. We'll see. All right. And as far as the greens are concerned, boy, I do really love both of those. I do. But I'm pretty partial to this forest color. I really am. So I think Let's commit to that, and let's roll this forward. The forest is a beautiful mix of pine shadow and midnight, which, if you know me, you know is one of my favorite colors. And I do truly love the way it finishes out. Let me grab, oh, it's brand new. I love a brand new paintbrush. I'm going to grab my Miracle brush for the edges and the architecture, and I'm going to grab my little Shortcut Purdy. These are great brushes. These are fabulous brushes. Although I really, tell you what, I'm going to leave my Purdy. So I'm going to have my Miracle brush and my Wooster Shortcut. This is my favorite when I have a lot of surface to cover, simply because that rubber handle does not put pressure on my hands like a wooden handle does. So it's a little bit easier on an older person, of which I am. So let's get this drawer done. This one looks fantastic. Let's cover this one with our forest. I'm going to mist the bristles before I start, just so they're damp and they're not absorbing so much of the material when I first dip it. And with Rethunk Junk Paint by Laura, you get amazing coverage, not in one coat. I've never promoted a one coat finish, nor will I, but 2 coats are sufficient. And with the base coat in Pine Shadow, now we have our second coat in Forest, and we have great coverage on this drawer, just like that. I'm going to cover those ridges, make sure I don't have any pooling, and feather in any brush strokes on the edges. Someone said they did a piece and they had horrible brush strokes. If you're getting horrible brush strokes, stop what you're doing because something's not right. You can see on the face of this drawer how smooth and even the first coat went on. It is a paint brand that you can count on not to create ridges and brush strokes, but you do have to follow some instructions. Don't overload your paintbrush. If you use too much paint to begin with, then the paint doesn't have any choice but to create ridges or brush strokes, because there's just too much of it there. Don't try to cover in one coat. There's no need. Take your time. Refinishing this furniture should be fun. It should also be simple and easy. Now, if I'm going to paint the upper, which I'm inclined, we'll see. But if I'm going to paint the upper, then these pieces don't need to be done in the same color. These pieces need to be coordinated in a wood tone. What I discovered when I put the stripper to them is that this surface is not real wood. It's an engineered wood product, and therefore it is not going to, it wasn't going to strip real well to begin with. And even if I stripped it, recovering it with a wood tone is just not going to happen because it's not real wood, it's engineered wood. So what we'll do here on the surface is we will use a blend of colors. I have them already picked out, but we'll use a blend of colors and we will create the wood look on the surface of this piece. So for right now, we're going to leave this alone and we're going to do the body of this base, and then we'll get to that top. So I'm going to bring you in here. And I have a little stool that I'm going to use. It's not rolly, but it'll do the job today. In the In covering this in a wood tone, I probably also want to cover this in a wood tone. But that leaves these trim edges here and the framework here, and that belies the question, what to do with it? My inclination is to do the surfaces in the wood tone and do these edges in our green. So that's where we're going to start today. We'll go ahead and we'll green these in, and then we'll do our upper surfaces later on. And don't get me wrong, even though this is an engineered lumber, it's a fantastic piece of furniture. And I'm not suggesting that engineered lumber is wrong, because engineered lumber reuses leftovers and keeps them from going to waste. And you know I'm all about that kind of thing. So we'll come down the edge. A nice finish, but a light finish. And I'm going to need to be careful because I still haven't found my apron, and I don't want to go home green. I have a nice chenille brown sweater on. I'd like to keep it brown. I do like this sweater. So I hope that I hope you're staying warm, and I hope you made it through the storms yesterday. I hope your families are safe. I know the storms were not nearly as horrible as we thought they would be. Don't be mad at the weathermen for that. They don't control those skies. They try to protect us and give us the worst case scenario so that we can make good decisions. Do I feel like the kids should have been in school yesterday? I think they're okay. I think the kids are okay. All right. And now I will come down and we'll grab this edge. I love the rich tone of this green. It's all the goodness of pine shadow, but just richer, deeper, more forest. And it's a really simple 50-50 mix. However much you measure in pine shadow, you measure that much in midnight. Stir it really well. Add just a little bit of water to it if you want to. And shake it until it is completely blended. And then you're going to have this amazing forest tone. I love it. Absolutely love this. It's going to look great. All right, we have two doors. I took the hardware off. I didn't take these off, but I need to. So let's stop right there for a quick minute. Let me grab my handy green Ryobi. I'm probably going to leave this right here. I did check these rollers yesterday. They have been painted before, but they're in good shape. A lot of times you have to watch these because the plastic will be broken. And if the plastic is broken, your cabinet won't close correctly. So you're going to want to make sure to check rollers when you get ready to do your drawers. And I dropped one of the screws. It didn't go far, I'm positive. It's okay. I'm going to paint the framework first, and we'll get to the inside of these cabinets because we want to coordinate them with whatever tone we cover these with, so when you open the doors you have a really cohesive look. That's my preference. That's the way I like to do things. You don't have to do it that way. That's just the way I like it. All right, I'm going to set my big brush down, move my stool, I don't have my knee pads. Nope, don't have them. Took them out for basketball season and for seat for seat cushions in the gym because the bleachers are not always really comfortable. And probably meant to put them back in here and just didn't get to it. All right, check for drips and runs on your top side, and then check up underneath here because there's a ridge underneath here as well. Make sure that's covered well, and then come on around. Doesn't matter what direction you go, where you start. What matters is that when you're finished, you have a good, clean first coat on your surfaces. No drips, no runs. You want to check your edges. I don't want green inside, so I'm going to wipe that clean across that top edge right there. I want a nice clean finish across that edge because I don't want the green inside. Now, with the Miracle Brush, I can come right up to the edge of the hardware, the hinges. I'm not going to take them off. I'm going to leave them alone, and I'm going to work around them. That's one of the reasons why I love the Miracle Brush. It gives me the flexibility to move around those hinges without actually painting those hinges. So we're going to leave those be. I hate to take hinges off and then try to reset them. They're a pain. Let's let that lie. I'm going to flip this open and catch the back side of this right around the edge of those hinges. And if I got any on the hinges, I can get it off when I'm done. It's not a big deal. It's really not a big deal. Don't let something like that slow you down or get you hung up. Just keep going. You can come back to it, and let's roll down. There we go. And now we're all the way to the center. This paint is fabulous. We are a little bit cool in the house today because of the temperatures outside. I do have the heat on, so I'm bringing the temperature up. But you can use this paint all the way down to 32 degrees, 34 degrees. It'll just take longer for it to dry. I like to keep the temperature when I'm painting at least in the 60s, just so I have good dry time. Because usually we're live and y'all don't want to sit and watch paint dry. And I understand that. All right. Love these Miracle brushes. Time to reorder. Getting ready to restock everything. And that includes these brushes. There we go. So simple and easy to work with. And I do love this color. Working around the hinges. If I got paint on the hinges or on the inside of the door, I can fix that. And I'm going to hit the outside edge of that trim board because we're going to leave the doors open so that this can all dry. One good coat, that's all you need to start with, is one good coverage coat. It does not need to be heavy. Check before it dries for drips and runs. If you've got any, smooth them out. If it's already starting to dry, before you smooth it, spritz it with some water. That was not already dry. I'm checking the underside. It looks good. It looks good. So far, so good. So now I'm going to spin this around and we'll get the outside edge started. Now, I'm going to run out of real estate here, so I may need to move my table down if that's at all possible. There we go. Easy. Easy peasy. All right. And that'll give you a good visual of that end. And that'll be just fine right there. All right, I am going to swap out my brushes again. And I bet I didn't take that. I didn't. It's okay. I didn't take that end off. Let me grab a fresh cup. I have my cups from yesterday that I was using to do the window. And I don't want to mix my colors. Not this time. All right. So let's go back to green. And let's get this end down here. That needs to come off, so let's grab a paper towel and see what we can do with this. There we go. Okay, done. Just a little left over. And I'll come right up underneath. A little bit of architecture here, but it's not enough that I want to use the Miracle brush because it's just a slight medallion on the corner. We'll cover this. Now, I got paint where I don't want it, so I'm going to, well, I've got two choices here. You know what? These alcohol wipes do a kryptonite kind of job. So I'm going to grab an alcohol wipe and clean just this lip edge off because this is the edge that will be colored to replicate wood finish, so I don't want my green there. And I will just take the green back off where I didn't want it. And then we'll keep moving. But we do want it here, so we'll come all the way up to that edge. And back down that side panel. I have this on a roller dolly with no wheel stop, so it might move a little bit, but it's not going to run away. It's not going anywhere. I'm going to clean off the top edge because when I dipped, I got paint on my hand and I got paint on the top of my brush, and I don't want it right there. I don't want it messy. Today, I don't want to be messy. Don't ask me why today matters. But happy St. Patrick's Day. I guess we're celebrating by going green here. And not Cloverfield kind of green. We're going We're going dark leprechaun in the forest green. That's the green we're going. One good coat to get started, a good base, a good binder, keeps the paint nice and smooth, and gives the furniture a good binder coat so that when you come back, when this is dry and your paint has cured, you don't have to worry about this scratching off. You don't have to wax it. We don't do wax. Matter of fact, I don't even like furniture polish. I use furniture cleaner, wood cleaner. And there's a big difference in product composition. And there's a difference in what it does for your furniture. There's no wax buildup with a furniture cleaner, a wood cleaner. Lot of buildup with a waxy petroleum-based product. All right, before I spin it, we're going to check our edges. I think we're good. I don't see any drips. I don't see any runs. I don't see any pooling in the edges, so I think we did a good job coming around that side. Now let's turn back around to the front. Our drawer facings are almost dry. I've got a little bit of pooling in this edge right here, so I'm going to pull that out so it's nice and smooth. I don't want to lose those architectural details, so I'll keep an eye on that all the way around, because as your paint settles, that's where you get that pooling. So you do have to keep an eye on it. Come down this side right here. We've got nice coverage on the outside edge. I love these pillars on this piece. It gives it some really nice accent. And gives a lot of character to the finish that we're working on. This is going to look fantastic. I hope you love this color. It is a 50-50 mix, 1-to-1 ratio of Pine Shadow and Midnight. And Pine Shadow is a great color. It just wasn't the color that I visualized when I visualized this in green. I wanted a really rich finish, and I think AI actually nailed it when I asked AI to refinish the piece in different colors. Let's clean that pooling up right there. AI did a great job. And I'm real cautious about using too much AI. But when you want to see what something is going to look like in your space or in a particular color, AI is pretty helpful. But at the end of the day, I still have to do the work, or the beginning of the day as it is. Looking good, looking good. All right, let me take the rest of that hardware off right there because I don't want the drawers clicking closed, especially since we're painting. I just want them to stay where they are. And we'll be retouching the inside of the doors as well. Let me clean paint off the floor. Thank the goodness for a concrete floor. All right, the drill. our little hardware container and everything's good. All right, let's scooch this around just a little bit. Go right past that chair. There we go. Nice. All right, let's get this door done. And if you're just coming on, thank you so much. We started utilizing our YouTube channel for our live tutorials as opposed to Facebook. So I hope you have found us. We're not too far away. YouTube doesn't give us such a fit about doing tutorials as Facebook does. Not sure that I know how to push all the buttons on YouTube yet, but we're getting there. I'm loving this. All right, let me do the top of the door. And I'll get to the outside edge. I'm on the opposite side of where I'm comfortable. So I'm going to leave this door edge until I can come around once it's dry, and I'll clip that door edge right there. Meanwhile, I'm going to get the edge of this pedestal, this pillar, not a pedestal, a pillar. Cute little squared medallion right there, and a nice elongated arched medallion here. Really lends a lot of character to the finish of the piece. And it looks good. This base, even though this is 100 years newer, this base really looks good with that Eastlake hutch. All right, let's spin again, and let's get this side. And let's see this time if I can keep it off that railing, but still get, well, I didn't do so bad. I got a little bit. Nothing I can't fix. There we go. I'm going to keep going. I'll come back to that in just a minute. I'm going to go ahead and fill this in so we can complete the first coat on our base. And last panel for the bottom. So it truly is possible to complete a single coat of paint in a short period of time, even when it's cold. It truly is possible for that first base coat not to have hideous brush strokes. If you apply too much paint, you're going to have brush strokes. If you don't apply enough paint, you're going to have brush strokes. You have to work with it, play with it, and get comfortable with it to get to the place where you don't have brush strokes taking over your life and your work. It's not terribly difficult, and this paint is very forgiving. So keep your coats reasonable and go in knowing, honestly, no matter what brand of paint you prefer, that you really shouldn't be going for single coat coverage. It's not very realistic when you're working with furniture. It does not net you a great result. If you cover in one coat, you're going to have such a thick, heavy coat of paint that it is going to take a really long time not only to dry but to cure, because you can get a surface crust that feels like it's dry, but your paint will still be tender underneath. I don't advocate for one coat coverage. You've heard me say that before, and it's simply because of that reason. You're not being realistic about what you're trying to accomplish. If one coat coverage is what you want, you're going to have problems. You're either not going to have enough coverage or you're going to have too much paint. There's a happy medium right here on the in-between. Just do 2 coats of paint. It doesn't take that long. It's 9:47, and I've completely covered the base with the exception of the cabinet surfaces that we're going to do in a wood tone. I've completely covered it. So we're going to move on. We're going to let that dry. I might throw the fan on it for a little while, put a little bit more heat into the building, and then we'll start again tomorrow. Will we be working on the upper or on the shelving? I'm not sure. It depends on how much I get done today. It's Tuesday. I've got a lot of work to do. Thank you so much for joining me here in the studio at Two Girls Treasure. I'm Diane Pruitt. We are a half-mile off I-95 in Florence, South Carolina. We're located at the PD State Farmers Market, right in the very front, right off the highway. Easy to find, signs all around the building. Come see us anytime and we will absolutely welcome you in. We have folks looking for us right now that we need to get back in touch with. So I'll look forward to seeing you again right here tomorrow morning, 9 a.m.-ish. Depends on the temperature in the building. I need it over 60. I'm comfortable over 60. I will look forward to seeing you then. Thank you so much for being here or watching this later on in your day. Y'all take care of yourselves and take care of each other. See you soon.